This is so exciting, guys. We're celebrating Donald Trump's birthday. We're also celebrating Flag Day. What a patriotic day. My name is Michelle Posey. I am actually with Up News, and I am the host of a new show on Patriot TV called The Home Front. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I always try to look for a program that maybe would be entertaining, something that is newsworthy, but also has a little bit of entertainment to it as well. And guys, I couldn't find my voice out there in that lamestream media. And you know what I'm talking about, Patriots. So we started our own TV show, The Home Front. It's 5 women, unfiltered, unmuted, uncensored. We're never going to be canceled again, guys, for free speech. Never again. And yeah, so we get to talk about current events. We get to talk about faith, our healthcare system, our families, raising children, all on an unfiltered platform. It's the homefront.tv. This is exciting to be here. I'm learning a lot just by watching the live stream. There's so much that you and I were taught, I think, growing up in school about our history and about our love and pride for that flag. That is the true pride flag, in my opinion. And I don't know that we do that very well in this country anymore. I wanted to just, give Steve Stern and Jovan a real shout out for being able to do this, and especially to celebrate President Trump's birthday. I found it very, very odd the other day. I was reading an article, and, it's Donald Trump is turning 78 years old. 78, that's amazing, right? Our current occupier-in-chief is 81 years old. So our former president, Donald Trump, 78, gets indicted, right, in some sham trial, while our current occupier-in-chief is deemed too incoherent to stand trial. Guys, doesn't that ignite something inside you that says that's not justice, that's not right, and that's not even the America that so many people fought and died for? It's not the republic that we recognize of old, and it's not going to be the republic that we stand for going forward. One of the reasons that we have our show, The Home Front, one of the reasons why I'm here with Up News, is because it's time that regular Americans, everyday Americans, patriotic, American-loving people get involved to save our republic. I think during this next election cycle, 2024, both primary and general, we are going to have to call out to you, America. I'm talking to our pastors, our faith leaders. I'm talking to our first responders, our nurses. Do you want the freedom to be able to practice true healthcare without the confines of sort of a big brother network with all these 3-letter agencies? To our teachers who really just want to teach. They just want to educate. They do not want all this indoctrination shoved down their throats. I'm talking to you, parents, because we sort of abdicated our responsibility once before and kind of let our foot off the gas pedal a little bit. And what did we find out? That government-run schools are teaching our children to depend on the government. Not you, not parents. We're fighting for parental rights again, right? I'm talking to our military men and women who are serving. I'm talking to all of our Americans that are out there watching this today. Hopefully you're getting inspired and you're getting hopeful and you're getting excited about the time we're about to roll into. We're coming into primary season, right? Getting to vote for the type of Republican that you want to represent you. Let's face it, guys. Not all Republicans are created equal. I'm letting the cat out of the bag here, right? So you have got to get involved in voting for your primaries. I noticed a statistic the other day. South Carolina already had their primary election. Their turnout, 13%. 13% turnout in their primary election. Now, I'm not trying to hate on South Carolina, but what I am trying to tell you, America, is that that's not going to cut it. That's not going to get us over the finish line. I live in a very, very red state, Florida. We have Governor DeSantis as our governor. We have a Republican trifecta in our nation's capital. I'm talking about the House, the Senate, and our governor, right? But even we struggle to get solid, good, conservative legislation passed. Things like election security, because let's face it, there's no more integrity in our election systems. I really believe that. I really believe that. We have trouble getting free Second Amendment rights, without these red flag laws. That was a Republican that brought that up in our House legislature. So again, not all Republicans are created equal. So what do you do with that? There's three things that you do with that. Number one, you take a look at yourself. Do you have something to offer in a leadership position? Would you consider running for school board, your county commission, city commission, state committee man or woman in your state legislature? Number two, if you don't want to run for something, can you get behind and support somebody who's willing to? I'm doing that. I'm stepping out and running for House District 74 right here in Florida. And guys, it's going to take regular people like you and I to do that. But you know what? We need boots on the ground. So maybe you reach out to a local candidate, one of your America First candidates, and you offer either a donation or you offer your hands and feet to be volunteers. And number three, one of the most crucial, get out and vote in your local primaries. Get your neighbors, get your coworkers, get your people in church. Guys, the church was never meant to step outside of the public square, so I'm talking to you too. Get your church family together and go vote. I say we make this election cycle in our primary election, we make that the new Super Bowl this year. Nobody wants to watch the woke NFL anymore, let's face it, or that halftime performance that's filth. So let's make the primary and the general election our new Super Bowl this year. That means it's all hands on deck. We can't pass the buck at all. I hope you're hearing some hope today. I was recently on a live stream and blessed to hear Colonel McGregor and General Michael Flynn both talking about some of the events that are happening off the coast of Cuba right now. I expected to go into that live stream and hear a lot of fear and how things are dialing up in our waters right off the coast of Florida here. Instead, what I saw and what I heard was this quiet, steady resolve. Honestly, true leadership. True leadership is what I heard. But what I liked about that is there was a call to action, just like I'm giving you, that yes, things are bleak. We're hearing about wars and rumors of wars, just it's biblical, right? But we have a part to play in how we react to that. It's time for us to get our steady foundation rooted in God's rights and God's laws that He gave us. It's time that we celebrate everything that our country stands for and that you and I pick up the gauntlet and we march full steam ahead into the election cycle. I joke and say, you know, I didn't serve my country. I didn't go to, I didn't serve in the military. I'm obviously not a first responder, but this is the way that I can serve, expressing to you that this is how we serve. So for me to run for office, that's how I'm serving. For me to host the Home Front or Patriot TV Up News, that's how I serve. How are you willing to serve? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to take us through 2024? Guys, I still think that America's future, our brightest days are ahead of us. Let's band together with our resolve in God, one nation under God. Get out there and vote. Get out there and make a difference. I'm Michelle Posey. I'm going to sign off for now. We are going to send it back. Posey, I'm going to sign off for now. We are going to send it back to Steve Stern. Thank you guys for all the...
Mission critical. Thank you guys for all the... critical. Our identity of our flag is, because that's where we're pledging our allegiance to, and that's what it stands for. Everything we've been through, from just a brand new nation to now to get here. And I think that's why, if you think about it and you just pay attention to everything we're showing you today, this is why history is repeating itself. This is why they're destroying families. This is why they're destroying kids. This is why a boy can be a girl can be a boy. They hate anything to do with Christian, anything to do with the flag. They are steadfastly destroying everything, and specifically the symbols who make us what we are. Anything you want to add to that, Steve?
Yeah, I think this is a perfect example of people looking the other way. You know what I'm saying? In other words, we have a lot of people here, and I understand they go to work, they have 2-3 jobs a lot of times to earn a living. But you know what? Take a phone, put your news right on your phone. However you got to do it, you got to know what's going on. Get involved. You know, people ask me, how do I do what I'm doing? I mean, think about what I do. I am owner of a business. I'm into politics. I'm on 4 boards. I'm the president of my homeowners. Add about 20 more things to that, and I still have time for my family. You know, my son and I are very close. I gave him most of the business so that I can concentrate on what we're doing. I'm on the phone. I actually have 4 phones now because I have to always have one for my wife, because if I don't answer...
Well, you have that one that you put your finger in the hole and do this.
Well, I have one of those old phones. Where
there you go.
And there's a reason, and I'm not going to tell you the reason, but it's very old, but it does something that nobody else can do. It has to do with sending texts. I can send multiple texts. And you know, the new software on these phones, you can't do that. You got to send one at a time.
Right.
So if I'm going to send 10,000 texts in a week and do it individually, you know, I've got to be able to do it. So it's just a question of having the passion. You know, people are born maybe with a passion. You have a passion. I have a passion. But we got to root out the people that do have passion and get them changed from doing nothing to doing something. Now, we have a lot of people in the country I speak to, and there's certain states that just aren't bringing the people up. And
Very
luckily,
true.
I have a good friend, David Penn, in Minnesota. And you notice that Minnesota is turning a little bit to the Republicans, and that's because of him. He has a big tire company up there. He does his podcast, and he's helping a guy run for the Senate, which you know, and he's on Real America Voice. And, you know, that's what we need. People with a passion. They are every place. And, you know, we're going to find them. And it's up, whoever's listening today and is not involved, and I stimulate him to do that, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to help turn the stuff, because, you know, if you speak to 100 people, and those 100 people speak to 100 people, and that's what we did in California. We started with Tina Celine, who started with 1 or 2 people. Every day, she's texting me and calling me. And we have a guy in Pennsylvania, John Farrow. John, I hope you're listening. He texted me before. He is not a great politician, but he's trying to save this country, and he's getting involved. He's on the phone with me every day. How do we protect our vote? How do we protect our vote? And, you know, the RNC, they're moving a little bit on our direction. We never had conversation with them because Rona McDaniel has never answered our phone call, and she's really basically in charge of us. But now we got new people. Now, that's not saying they're all working with us, but I will say Christina Bobb and Christina Norton are definitely trying to help us. And we're trying to get the other side because they're the election security side. But the precinct strategy side is Laura Trump and Watley. And Watley does not communicate. And that's not good. You know what I mean? Because if we don't have communication, that's the access to Trump.
That's right.
Watley is on his side all the time. Laura Trump's on his side. And we've got to get his sons involved. You know, they put up a shield. I saw Donald Trump Jr. in Mar-a-Lago one time, actually in a bathroom. And I said, do you know what precinct strategy was? He said, no. I said, do you mind if I call you? He said, no. And he said, well, what do I do? He said, well, get a hold of my dad's secretaries and I'll get together with you. 0. And that's the problem in this country. You know, they all want to have their podcasts and they want to do all this stuff, but we need to have communication. And the more people I can speak to and the more people, believe me, I know a lot of people I'll put you with. I have a lady that doesn't have a computer. She doesn't have an iPhone, but she calls me every day and puts me with people because she wants to save this country.
Right.
Her name is Joanna Loeb, and a lot of people know her. And all she does is communicate and give people to people. And that's how we build this country, by one at a time.
Absolutely, folks. I've always told you, we are the army we're waiting for. We are the cure to this mess.
Welcome, everyone. This is Colonel Rhett John. Thank you for joining us on Flag Day 2024. Thank you, Steve Stern and Jovan Pulitzer. It's an honor to be on the show with you and all this other great assemblage of wonderful patriots. It's such an honor to be with them and with you on Flag Day in June 2024. As we join together today to celebrate the birth of the American flag, let us delve even deeper into the rich tapestry of history that has woven this symbol into the very fabric of our nation. It may indeed strike some as curious that a flag would be bestowed with a name, but this tradition finds its roots in the profound connection individuals feel toward this emblem of our unity and strength. In 1831, Captain William Driver, a seasoned seafarer, referred to the Stars and Stripes as Old Glory. Picture, if you will, the billowing flag atop the mast of his ship, a constant companion on his many ocean voyages. Through storms and calm seas alike, it stood as a steadfast reminder of home and nation. Thus, the name Old Glory was born, a testament to the enduring bond between a man and his flag, and by extension, between a people and their nation. Turning the pages of history, we come to the Battle of San Juan Hill, a pivotal moment during the Spanish-American War in 1898. Amidst the sweltering heat of the Cuban countryside, Colonel Theodore Roosevelt, accompanied by his famed Rough Riders, led a daring charge against entrenched Spanish forces. With grit and determination, they ascended the slopes of San Juan Hill, their eyes fixed on the fluttering stars and stripes that guided them forward. At the summit, amidst the thunder of gunfire, they planted the American flag, a symbol of their resolve and triumph. This image of Roosevelt and his men posed proudly atop San Juan Hill serves as an enduring testament to the courage and sacrifice of those who fought beneath its folds. Yet it is another moment captured in the lens of history that perhaps best encapsulates the spirit of the American flag. In 1945, during the harrowing Battle of Iwo Jima, 6 Marines ascended the scarred slopes of Mount Suribachi. Amidst the chaos of battle, they hoisted the flag, a simple act that would reverberate across the world. Joe Rosenthal's iconic photograph raising the flag over Iwo Jima immortalized that moment of triumph, capturing the raw emotion etched upon the faces of those brave men. It stands as a testament to the valor and sacrifices of our armed forces, a reminder that the American flag is not merely a piece of cloth, but a symbol of freedom and resilience, cherished by generations past and present. So, as we gaze upon the stars and stripes fluttering in the breeze, let us pause to remember the stories it holds of courage and camaraderie, of sacrifice and perseverance. Let us honor the memory of those who have fought beneath its colors and those who continue to defend the freedoms it represents. And let us reaffirm our commitment to the ideals for which it stands. A nation united, indivisible, under the banner of liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and may God bless the United States of America.
Well, hello, America. Ohio Brett here. Brett Bowl from Dublin, Ohio, nicknamed Ohio Brett. As we reflect on these defining moments in our nation's history, it's essential to recognize how current times have altered the public persona of the flag. Currently, there's a lot of controversy surrounding the proposed changes to the American flag. The proposed changes attempt to break apart our beloved symbol of solidarity. The suggested changes threaten the very values of which our country holds so dear. If these changes are allowed to take place, it will strip our country of its very identity. If these actions are allowed to continue, how long will our symbol endure? This is a disrespect to the soldiers at San Juan Hill, whom exemplified valor and sacrifice. The flag stood as a testament to their unyielding spirit and unwavering devotion to the welfare of our fellow Americans. Our monuments are being vandalized. The Battle of Iwo Jima contradicts the events that took place on January 6th. Most recently, friends, our flag has suffered its most blatant injustice at the hands of the current presidential administration. Pure evil. According to the United States Flag Code, the flag of the United States of America should be at the center And at the highest point of the group, when a number of flags of states or localities or pennants of societies are grouped and displayed from staffs. To paraphrase an official, not only does it violate the United States flag code, but it also demonstrates the White House's incapacity and insistence on prioritizing their SOSA agenda before patriotism. Violates the very memory of every American veteran laid to rest under its precious colors. Think back to 1813 when Captain William Driver was inspired to give the flag a name. How would he have felt about our current state of affairs, given the way our symbol has been drawn through the mud, disrespected, and desecrated by citizens? Would he still have been able to find glory in the flag as it's represented today? As we move forward, let Old Glory be our unwavering source of inspiration. Let it remind us of the unity that binds us, transcending our differences, even in the face of adversity. Let us stand up and protect this symbol of freedom and testament to courage from those who wish to attack and slander it. Striving together to build a brighter, more inclusive future for all Americans, let the spirit of the flag ignite our passion and strengthen our resolve to uphold the values that make our nation truly great. God bless you all, and we'll see you soon on the road.
A celebration not just of Donald Trump's birthday, but also Flag Day. I think you're hearing some real important points about why the flag's so important, right? Well, my name is Michelle Posey, and I am so grateful that you've tuned in today. I am an anchor here for Up News, Unified Patriot News, and I'm also the host of a show on Patriot TV known as The Homefront. Guys, a lot of what you're hearing talked about today right here with Jovan and Steve Stern are topics that we cover as well on The Homefront. I feel like we are that platform that's really free to speak about the topics that we care about the most. Yeah, I'm talking about the COVID vaccine. I'm talking about abortions. We're talking about woke ideology in our school systems. And let's face it, a lot of times just mentioning any one of those things gets you deplatformed these days. So it's important for us to have a platform where we can ask questions, we can seek the truth together, and we can talk without being muted or canceled. And that's what the Homefront is. Guys, if you want to find out more, I encourage you to navigate to thehomefront.tv. You'll be able to watch all of the replays there of every episode we have. We've got some swag there. We've also got subscriptions. Become a premier member of the homefront.tv. You will get some additional content if you subscribe. What do I mean by additional content? Well, I'll give you an example. We went to West Palm Beach this past weekend, and there's a lot of things that happen when you put 5 women in a car and send them across the state. A lot of fun discussions, and it's pretty entertaining. I think you should go to thehomefront.tv, scroll down, make sure that you subscribe, then join us on Patriot TV Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Guys, we're going to get right back to the Flag Day. More from Steve Stern and more from Jovan coming right up.
What defines the American spirit? Preserving life, liberty, and pursuing happiness. Caring for the nation we call home and its people. As patriots, it's our duty to drive the entrepreneurial spirit, pushing hard, reaching for success, sharing patriotism, because the American way of life is for all to live. The flag shirt, where freedom reigns.
Are you sick and tired of being overcharged by woke insurance companies, drugstores, and big pharma? They overcharge you and then use your money to support agendas that are hurting America. There's a much better way, folks. At Mammoth Nation, you and your family can save.
Hi, guys. This is Michelle Posey. I am your host of The Homefront, thehomefront.tv. You are tuning in right now and seeing the celebration for Flag Day and Donald Trump's birthday. I'm told he's turning 78. Guys, he does not seem like he's 78, right? I wish I had half of that man's strength and endurance. Guys, I want to express to you what we do here with the Homefront and also Up News. You know, we complain a lot about lamestream media. We complain that we don't really get the unfiltered truth. We complain that we're not able to talk freely about topics. That's why we have to support those networks and those platforms that will allow you to have that voice that allows you to ask questions. Do you remember just 4 years ago? 4 years ago, if first of all, if your face wasn't covered with a mask, and second of all, if you even uttered the word jab or COVID, you were deplatformed. I know because that happened a few times to me. We can't ever go back there, right? We say never again, and never again means never again. We have to keep platforms where free speech is thriving. Guys, we are citizen-funded, citizen-led. I want to encourage you to go to thehomefront.tv and subscribe. Get a premier subscription. Help us to be able to keep our voice free and unfiltered. 5 women sitting on a panel, unfiltered and unmuted. What could possibly go wrong? We like to say we're the better view. You know what I'm talking about. We're going to go back to Steve Stern and Jovan. More on Flag Day right here.
Folks, we're back. It's 2024 Flag Day. What you got going on there, Steve-O?
All right, so we want to introduce you to Anthony. Without Anthony, this wouldn't have happened because he worked till 11 o'clock last night.
Oh, I got to get him on the screen. I was trying to get a closer up. Lean in, lean. There you go, there you go, there you go.
I mean, this is you talk about hardworking people. I do 7 things at one time. He does 9 things at one time. We're very, very thankful for his great work, his technology. He worked with us on different events. We had a big fundraiser up at Trump International, which you worked with me on too, which was phenomenal. One of the guys also that we forgot to, we know so many people, sometimes we forget, but Dane Sensor, epicflagevents.com. I want to let everybody know he's the original guy that started with me about 8 years ago, working on flag events. And he had an event, I think it was about 4 years ago, where he unveiled the largest flag, American flag in the world. 500 people took it out, and we now have it with the Star Spangled Banner. We played it last year's event. If you'd like to see it, or if you'd like to get a text with it, I'd like to send it to you, because every time I see it, we have it on a lot of different programs. I was on yesterday, one of the programs played it, and every time I see it, I cry, because they play the Star Spangled Banner and they whip out the largest American flag in the world. And that's meaningful. So I want everybody to text me and I'll send it to them. And also I want to thank everybody. We got 500 orders from the people that are out there. So we appreciate that. You know, one thing, you will get an individual email from me tomorrow for everybody to place an order. And I'm glad to call you and discuss it. I did get a couple of calls yesterday saying that, we appreciate everything you're doing. And I got probably 1,000 people with their flags in front of the house. we didn't have time to put on them. We had about 50 people send me 30-second videos in front of the house. I want to thank them all for doing that, taking the time, especially the people up in the villages in Florida. They got about 10,000 Trump supporters up there that always are calling me all the time. We try to get up there. President Trump goes up there a lot to talk about it. He's a big supporter. Also, again, Rob Sigg, who's the head of Real America Voice. That's my birthday present from him. And I'm wearing it to signify that his Real America Voice is a conservative station, and he has to pay the price. He told me he lost sponsors because he's a conservative guy. And this is a problem throughout the United States. I mean, Mike Lindell, they knocked him out of 80 box stores. They shut him down in the banks. And this is another thing that why you got to get involved, because many people are losing their voice. Look at how many people they're arresting in the middle of the night for ridiculous things that are maybe, if you drop a piece of paper on the floor, they're going to arrest you. And this is what happens in socialism and communism. They arrest you in the middle of the night, you never see them again. And, you know, I don't want to say this is going to happen in the United States, but I can tell you if we don't get involved and we don't make this thing happen, and I can tell you that a lot of people aren't celebrating Flag Day today because they don't even know it's Flag Day today, because it should be a national holiday. Can you imagine? The flag of the United States is not a national holiday. That's terrible.
It's interesting. So, Anthony, how do you like the burn and churn pummel turmoil that it is doing this live TV?
I sure appreciate how much work you put into your show, and it's just daunting, all the hours and the people and all the work that we have to put in. And it's just really an honor and a privilege to be able to do work on something that's so near and dear to my heart, the American flag.
Yeah, so many there's so many people, folks, behind the scenes making this work. Steve going without a lot of sleep. I just did two things. Number one, I've now turned 34 hours with 1 hour and 15 minutes of sleep in that last 34 hours. And now officially, about 4 minutes ago, I officially turned between producing, directing, and content for live TV. I just went over the threshold of 3,500 hours of producing and directing live TV. And I have to tell you, Steve, I look forward to doing this program. And speaking of flag shirt and how you learned from Cuban refugees, etc., right, and started out, let's get a little of South Miami flavor.
My name is Raj Dorasamy. I'm with Defend Florida and Defend Our Union, and I'm the producer of the Homefront.tv. There have been countless moments when the American flag has stood as a silent witness to our nation's victories and tragedies. From Martin Luther King Jr.'s moving remarks delivered against the backdrop of the flag to the historic Apollo 11 moon landings, where astronauts triumphantly planted it on the lunar surface, the flag has been an ever-present symbol in pivotal events of our history. Martin Luther King Jr.'s a towering figure in the civil rights movement spoke passionately about the ideals of equality and justice for all Americans. His famous I Have a Dream speech, delivered on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in 1963, resonated with the nation's conscience. Against the backdrop of the American flag, King articulated a vision of a united America, where individuals would be judged, not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The American flag, waving proudly overhead, became a symbol of hope for millions, inspiring generations to strive towards a more inclusive and equitable society. And then there was the historic Apollo 11 mission, a triumph of human ingenuity, daring, and perseverance. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to set foot on the lunar surface. As Armstrong descended the ladder of the lunar module, he carried with him a small piece of fabric, a symbol of our nation's spirit and resolve. With a sense of historic importance and determination, he planted the American flag onto the dusty soil of the moon. The image of the flag standing proudly against a barren moonscape broadcast live captured the imagination of people around the world. It was a moment of unparalleled achievement, a testament to what humanity can accomplish when we set our sights on the stars. But the amazing story of the American flag does not end there. Throughout our nation's history, it has been with us in moments of triumph and in moments of adversity. It has flown over battlefields, stood as a symbol of unity in times of crisis, and served as a rallying point for those who seek to uphold the principles of freedom and democracy. And today, as we confront the challenges of a rapidly changing world, the American flag continues to serve as a beacon of hope and inspiration. It reminds us of our duty to uphold the ideals of equality, liberty, and justice for all. It calls upon us to strive towards a better future where every individual has the opportunity to pursue their dreams and fulfill their potential. Thank you, and may God bless the United States of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Attorney Mary Lopez Palma. I am so excited to be here today celebrating Flag Day. What a beautiful day it is. I am a representative of the Broward Republican Executive Committee as a precinct committee woman, very active in our community. I am a mother of 4 beautiful children and a wife. I am honored to have the opportunity to speak to you on this occasion when we celebrate the birth of our treasured national flag. There have been innumerable moments throughout our country's incredible history where the American flag has functioned critically as a sign of hope and inspiration. As we've just heard from the previous speaker, the stirring words of Martin Luther King Jr. delivered against the backdrop of the American flag and the historic Apollo 11 moon landing, where it was spectacularly planted upon the lunar surface, stands out as a memorable example. Significantly, our flag was predominantly displayed in the background of Dr. King's speech. He expressed his unwavering dedication and devotion to the nation with a powerful statement. I criticize America because I love her. I don't believe for a moment that he was wrapping himself in the flag or simply using it. He was a patriot working peacefully within the system, exercising his free speech rights to effect positive change. Another time in history, and as a very personal moment in my life, when the American flag represented so much, was when the Cuban exiles arrived on los vuelos de la libertad, the freedom flights. This occurred during 1965 through 1973. This was at the height of the Cold War, and these exiles from Cuba fled the oppression of communism and arrived at the famous La Torre de Libertad, the Freedom Tower, which is located in Miami, Florida. I was one of those exiles. It was personal to myself and my family. In 1970, I remember the stories my parents told me, the tears in their eyes as we arrived at the Freedom Tower and seeing the abundant, beautiful display of American flags all around us. I get goosebumps as we celebrate today in Flag Day and all of the memories my parents share with me. These stories made a huge impression on me as a little girl, and they continue to do so. And today, and the practice of law, and the way that I feel about this beautiful country. The Freedom Flights brought in an estimated 300,000 refugees, making it the largest airborne refugee operation in American history. To this day, the American flag and the liberties sought and found by the Cuban refugees are symbolized by the Freedom Tower. And on October 6, 2008, it was named a National Historic Landmark. Today, Latino Americans have the power to make a difference in our elections. They represent over 63 million citizens in the United States. The American flag continues to be an inspiration and a symbol of libertad. Libertad, our symbol of freedom and liberty for the Latino immigrants who have not only made their home here in the United States, but have embraced and adopted this great country and the American flag as their own. Thank you so much. And muchas gracias. And may God bless the United States of America.
So we're back, and we got another member of the team here. Go ahead, Steve-O.
So we got Jen here, my assistant, and I'd never had an assistant. My
Scoot
son,
on over. Scoot on. Let her scooch in. Come on, come on. There you go. Now we can see you. Thank you.
So my son gave me an assistant. He said,
Wait a minute. Your son gave you an assistant, kind of like a gift?
That's exactly right.
Your son must love you.
Jen was working in a different department, and I said to my son, I can no longer do this anymore because I don't remember what show I'm on when, because I didn't have time to write it down. So Jen worked on this program for Flag Day for the last 2 months, night and day. And, her husband and children went to Venezuela to visit their father, who unfortunately passed away today or yesterday. We're sorry for her loss. And she stayed here the extra day. She was going on vacation today. And she did a wonderful job in helping us get this through. Because if you think this is easy, Jovan could tell you what he's done way more than what I've done. But it was unbelievable because we had so many people working. And, to get the history, because we did two things here. The old history is easy, but the new history is very tough because you have to be careful on what you say. We don't want to offend anybody, and we want this to make this very good. We're getting tons and tons of people saying different things. We're glad to answer them. Most of the things are people, how they can get involved. We love this country. We have a flag. And before we end, I'm going to show you my flag that's folded up. Somebody presented that to me. So, Jen, say a few words, say hello. So,
hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. It's always an adventure to work with Steve Stern. Let me tell you, he's the real deal. I'm in here every day with him, and he is, when we say he's the 83-year-old Energizer Bunny, he really is. He works harder than anybody I've ever seen, and he inspires us all.
He absolutely is the hardest working patriot.
I got my Panther hat on. They won 3 games in a row.
There you go.
We followed them for 30 years and never got in there. When you don't have a team. So when they win the Stanley Cup, I'm taking the day off.
Very good. Yeah, Jen, you're right. He is, I say it, and I mean he's the hardest working patriot out there in what we do. So, Jen, how do you like the controlled chaos of pulling off something like this?
Oh, it's an adventure. Let me tell you. You talked about working hard. I clocked in 70 hours last week. And I'm supposed to be part-time.
It is a lot. People don't, I think, understand what it takes and how many moving parts and people depending upon each other and where it is in the phase. And just having to keep track of all the iterations. And, at times I can be kind of a tough taskmaster. And it's just the stress of getting it done and managing it. It's just the way it is. You got to be able to think of every little bitty point but here's the deal. You know what? Since Steve knows how to text 3,000 times a day, just think about all the messages we go back and forth. Is this ready? Is this ready? Is this ready? You're just getting prepped. It's training. It's training. So you can't get up to the 3,000 texts a day. Jen, number one, I'm sorry for your loss and thank you for still being here. And number two is thank you for all of your hard work you've put into this project. And you and Anthony have been really good. Anyway, folks, we're headed to the next segment. This one is going to blow your socks off.
Hey folks, it's John Rich here, and happy Flag Day to you and to our entire country. What an important day this is for all of us to remember the American flag, what it stands for, and what it has stood for since the very beginning of our country. You know, one story that I'm always reminded of on this day concerning our flag deals with the creation of the song, The Star-Spangled Banner. We all know that song, probably the greatest song ever written about our country. And as the story goes, the history of the writing of that song is Francis Scott Key was sitting out in a boat as Fort McHenry was being bombarded by basically every British ship that they could get their hands on. The British Navy had completely taken over that bay, and every cannonball that they had was simultaneously being lobbed in to Fort McHenry. They were trying to basically crush the Revolutionary War right then and right there. As the cannonballs were flying in, Americans were dying left and right. And that line in the Star-Spangled Banner that says, "But our flag was still there." It was still there. Well, when that battle was over with and they went through Fort McHenry to take out the dead patriots that had fought and died, they found that flag, and yes, it was still standing there, but it was being held up by the dead bodies of Americans who had been killed in that battle. When someone would die, they would push that body up against the flag, and at the very end of the battle, when it's all said and done, that flagpole was standing, and it was intertwined with American arms, legs, down through the middle of these men who had died defending that flag and kept it flying. So I think, you know, when we hear the Star-Spangled Banner, we don't think about that part. You know, it's just a beautiful song about our country. But I got to tell you, there's been a lot of moments in our history that were not beautiful at all. Matter of fact, they were some of the most horrific things you can imagine that went on to get us to the point here in 2024 where we even still have a country to argue about. I remind myself constantly about the shoulders that we stand upon in this country, all the way back to the Revolutionary War, guys. You think about the greatest generation, what those men were willing to do, and then all the women back at home and even the kids were involved in beating Nazi Germany, Imperial Japan, and Mussolini all at the same time. Can you imagine if there was no America? If America had never shown up, what would the world look like in 2024? It would be a much different place. Probably not a place any of us would want to live in. So when we see the flag go up the pole, there's a reason we put our hands over our hearts. There's a reason that we show that respect, and it's because of all the men and women who have died to get us to this point. I believe firmly that this era of Americans, us, the ones watching this video, myself speaking into this video, it's now our job to be the shoulders that future Americans can stand upon. They're going to ask, what were you doing in 2024? And you need to be able to tell them you fought with everything you had and you kept our flag flying high the entire time. So God bless you. God bless America on this incredible, important day, Flag Day. Long may she fly. Take care.
Wow, that was a powerful message right there by John Rich. Guys, my name is Michelle Posey. I'm here with Up News. I'm also your host of the Homefront show on Patriot TV. I want to just interject a little bit of news here. Guys, a quick question, America. Has our country been deaf to diplomatic solutions? I mean, you heard him talk about the people that have fought and died for our flag and for our country, but certainly we would try to avoid war. We would try to avoid having that type of death occur, right? Well, the Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman, Maria Zakharova, has stated that it seems our country has not really engaged in diplomatic solutions with Russia. She said the West never appeared to take notice when Russia sent signals through diplomatic channels saying, hey, we want to talk. We want to talk about what's going on here with Ukraine. Did you know that Russia was trying to use diplomatic channels to communicate with Biden and his regime? Guys, according to reports, the Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman continued to say, quote, as soon as it comes to exercises or sea voyages, we immediately hear questions and a desire to know what these messages are about. So in other words, as soon as there are warships docked in Cuba, The Biden administration picked up the phone. Why do signals related only to our Army and Navy reach the West, she said. Why does the West remain completely deaf and then comes up with the most powerful campaign to prevent Russian signals from entering its information realm? I find that interesting because I would hope that somebody's picking up the phone to try to talk a peace deal through between Russia and Ukraine. We've got to stop sending our men and women over to serve in endless wars. We've got to stop trying to bank on other countries' natural resources. And that is part of what we celebrate here on Flag Day, a recommitment to the fact that we are going to do our part to rebuild this republic, to make it what our founding fathers wanted it to be. And that's going to start with voting. Please get involved, guys. If you'd like more information about the Homefront, go to thehomefront.tv. We've got a subscription there that allows you to see unfiltered content. We've also got a training program so that you at home can get involved right there locally. General Flynn says local action equals national impact. We're making that a reality. Back to more of the Flag Day.
Together once more under a banner of freedom and justice for all. Thank you, and may God bless America.
Okay, folks, we're headed into the last segment, and you're going to love it. I got 2 trivia questions on the way out for you to think about while we go to commercial break. Number 1, true or false? The flag, the actual Star-Spangled Banner that was written about, was sold in 2011. Is that true or false? That the actual Star-Spangled Banner that was written about was sold in 2011. Here's another one for you. It's a yes or no. If the flag touches the ground, can it still be used? True or false? The flag that is known as the Star-Spangled Banner that was written about was sold in 2011. And if a flag touches the ground, can it still be used? Think about those, folks. We're headed into the last segment. Be right back.
It's the end of the world!
Is in this last segment. You know, they haven't even told me, so I will be very surprised along with you, America. My name is Michelle. We're here on Up News. That's Unified Patriot News. Guys, we're on Patriot TV Monday through Friday, 2:30 Eastern. And at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm also the host of the Homefront show on Patriot TV, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. I recommend, guys, this is what you do Monday through Friday, and ladies. The kids are home, right, because it's summer break. So set them up with a nice program, maybe a bowl of cereal. Maybe if you can find, are there good cartoons anymore? What happened to the Looney Tunes? I don't know if they're still on. Anyway, get your kids set up, get your cup of coffee, get your favorite blanket, get your favorite pillow, get your favorite recliner, and tune in to patriot.tv. Every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, you'll be able to watch myself, our co-host, Allie Legg, and a wonderful panel of women. Sometimes we have special guests join us. But the things we talk about are things that matter to you, right? We're unfiltered. We'll talk a lot of times about this Biden economy. I think the other day we were talking about literally we're living through a silent depression right now. And what does that mean? Reports say that the cost of living, which if you've bought milk or tried to rent an apartment recently, you know about the cost of living, the increase in the cost of living. But our wages are not matching the growth in the cost of living. So when you look at the difference between our wages and the cost of living, it exceeds what it was during the Great Depression. So do you feel like you can't do what you used to do this summer with your family? Are you cutting back on those trips and vacations? Are you cutting back at the grocery store? Are you clipping coupons like me now? Those are things we do, and nobody talks about it. It's very real. We call it Biden inflation, but it's very, very real. These are the things we talk about on the Homefront. Go to thehomefront.tv. You'll be able to hear more about what we do Get a subscription. We have a premier membership, guys. With that premier membership, you're not only going to get to see more unfiltered content of the Homefront, but you're also going to get a training program where we teach you, we walk through how do regular people like you and I get involved locally to make a national impact. I think we're getting ready to come back for our Flag Day celebration. I want to say God bless America. Of course, happy birthday, President Donald Trump. I'm told he's 78 years young. And happy Flag Day. Guys, God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Let's go back to Steve and Jovan. Let's see who this last guest is.
Because the American way of life is for all to live. The flag shirt, where freedom reigns.
Okay, folks, we're back. We're celebrating Flag Day 2024. And of course, we dubbed this rogues, rascals, and ruffians because that's what we are. Those darn flyovers, those deplorables. Before the break, I gave you 2 trivia questions. First one was a true and false. That the flag that the Star Spangled Banner, the actual what was written about, was sold in 11. What do you think? True or false? Well, actually, it's true, kind of un poquito, just a little bit true. The flag that flew at Fort McHenry, immortalized by Francis Scott Key, is still around. A 2-inch by 5-inch swath of it was sold at an auction in 2011. Sold it on auction in 2011 for whopping $38,000. The rest of the flag on display in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History. Next, if the flag touches the ground, yes or no, if the flag touches the ground, can it still be used? I saw one of you in chat said it must be. I watched Mel Gibson pick it up and ram it in the face of the British after it hit the ground. Yes, touches the ground, can it still be used? And the answer is yes. See, there's a myth that once a flag touches the ground, it needs to be burned or disposed of. And I have to admit, I've always thought that, but that's not entirely true. If a flag is soiled, meaning like it gets close to Joe Biden, if a flag is soiled or touches the ground, it can be washed or dry cleaned. And then thinking of that thought, I threw up in my mouth. Dry clean and can be continued to be used. Yeah, I truly did. I think I threw up a little bit in my mouth over the thought of that one. Stu, I see you got your cowboy
All right. Tuning in to the Flag Day celebration with Steve Stern and with Jovan. They have made this a marathon. I don't even know how long they have been streaming. We have had amazing guests, I'm told, General Michael Flynn, obviously Steve Bannon, and Vandersteel, Wayne Root, people from other news sources. I was so excited to see Cowboy Logic. Those two are amazing, and I love the idea of bringing that Western cowboy mentality into politics, right? We've had Colonel John Mills, Lee Greenwood. Still waiting to see who this surprise guest is going to be at the end. I'm going to take it back to the guys in the booth there. More Flag Day right here. We'll be back with more.
So here we go, last segment. And I pushed the wrong one. And why did I push the wrong one? I'll tell you why I pushed the wrong one. This last segment's large, so it can't be preloaded. Here you go.
More than half of Americans. As we near the end of our event, I want to share with you a tradition that embodies the reverence and respect we hold for our nation's most cherished symbol, the American flag. More than 4 in 5 Americans, 86%, correctly say that there are 50 stars on the flag. And about 3/4, 76%, are 13 stripes. More than half of Americans, 4%, say they have a U.S. flag at home. Among this group, 40% say that fly, and 30% save it for home. Most Americans see the act of flying an American flag as patriotic, 70%. And a majority, 60%, say the same about the act of wearing an American flag pin. On some U.S. military uniforms, flag patches are worn on the right shoulder, following the vehicle convention with the union toward the front. This rule dates back to the Army's early history, when mounted cavalry and infantry units would designate a standard bearer who carried the colors into battle. As he charged, his forward motion caused the flag to stream back. Since the stars and stripes are mounted with the canton closest to the pole, that section stayed to the right, while the stripes flew to the left. Several U.S. military uniforms, as flight suits worn by members of the United States Air Force and Navy, have the flag patch on the left shoulder. U.S. flags are displayed continuously at certain locations by presidential proclamation, acts of Congress, and custom. Replicas of the Star-Spangled Banner, 15 stars and stripes, are flown at 2 sites in Baltimore, Maryland, Fort McHenry National Monument, and Historic Shrine in Flag House Square. Marine Corps War Memorial, raising the flag on Iwo Jima at Arlington, Virginia. The Battle Green in Lexington, Massachusetts, site of the first shots fired in the Revolution. The White House, Washington, D.C. 50 U.S. flags are displayed continuously at the Washington Monument, Washington, D.C. A continuously opened U.S. Customs and Border Protection ports of entry. A Civil War-era flag for the year 1863 flies above Pennsylvania Hall, Old Dorm at Gettysburg College. This building, occupied by both sides at various points of the Battle of Gettysburg, served as a lookout and battlefield hospital. Ground National Memorial Arch in Valley Forge, NHP, Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. By custom, at the Maryland home birthplace and grave of Francis Scott Key, at the Worcester, Massachusetts War Memorial, at the Plaza in Taos, New Mexico, since 1861, at the United States Capitol since 1918, and at Mount Moriah in Deadwood, South Dakota. Liberty Newark International Airport's Terminal A, Gate 17, 2001 to 21, and Boston Logan's Airport Terminal B, Gate 32, and Terminal C, Gate 19, in memorial of events of September 11, 2001. A ceremonial South Pole is one of the 12 flags representing signatory countries of the original Antarctic Treaty. On the moon, 6 crewed missions successfully landed at various locations, and each had a flag raised at the site. Exhaust gases when the ascent stage launched to return to astronauts to their command module, Columbia, for return to Earth, blew over the flag the Apollo 11 mission had placed. Do you know what to do with your old and tattered flags? The flag retirement ceremony is steeped in tradition and respect. It's beautifully designed to respect the flag's service over its lifetime. The United States flag, Title IV, Section 8K states, the flag, when it is in such condition that it is no longer a fitting emblem of display, should be destroyed in a dignified way, preferably by burning. Flag retirement is the term used to define the proper, dignified way of destroying United States flags that are no longer fit to serve the nation. However, this ceremony is much more than a solemn farewell to a piece of cloth. It is a symbolic gesture that resonates with the principles the flag represents. The ideals of freedom, democracy, and unity guided our nation's founding. It is a reminder that while the physical flag may be retired, the spirit it embodies will continue to inspire us for generations to come. As the flames flicker, consuming the last remnants of the flag stewards stand at attention, their hands raised in salute, a gesture of respect. This salute is not just a formality, but a symbol of their deep reverence for the flag and all it represents. Moreover, as the smoke rises into the sky, carrying with it the ashes of the retired flag, the knowledge that a new flag will replace it serves as a poignant reminder of the indomitable American spirit. You can retire your American flag at any one of the Boy Scouts of America's 272 local councils, with each council covering a geographic area that may vary from a single city to an entire state or your local Veterans of Foreign Wars, VFW post. There are over 1,900 locations. Elks Lodges, of which there are 2,000 individual lodges, or your nearest American Legion post, which has over 12,000 individual locations. These organizations follow flag retirement protocol and will take your flag and ensure that it is disposed of properly. Love your flag, love your country, and thank you. And may God bless the United States of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is General Mike Flynn. As we conclude our event, I want to instill in each of you a deep sense of pride in the enduring significance of the American flag in our present day. While we have delved into its rich history and the solemn traditions that honor it, it is crucial to recognize that the flag symbolizes our ongoing journey as a nation, a journey that each of you is a part of. The flag stands as tangible proof of our shared values of freedom and democracy. It is a constant reminder of our collective journey, proudly waving over schools, government buildings, and homes. It is a guiding light of hope and resilience, unfurling in moments of national pride and in times of crisis. In our contemporary society, the flag challenges each of us to uphold the principles enshrined in our founding documents. It calls us to action, urging us to contribute to improving our community and our country. We see these values in the bravery of first responders, the dedication of healthcare workers, and the tireless efforts of volunteers and community leaders. The Boy Scouts of America, through their flag retirement ceremonies, teaches each of us the importance of respecting our nation's symbols and the values they represent. This lesson is as relevant today as ever, reminding us to honor our flag through traditions and actions. By participating in these ceremonies, young scouts learn about the sacrifices made by those who served our nation and the flag's significance as a symbol of our collective identity. As we move forward, let us not just embrace, but fully embody the responsibilities of being citizens of this great nation. Let us teach the next generation the importance of these values and lead by example. By doing so, we don't just ensure that the spirit embodied by the flag remains vibrant and relevant for future generations, but we actively contribute to its endurance. In our diverse and dynamic society, the flag is not just a symbol, but a unifying force. It transcends political, cultural, and social differences, reminding each of us that we are all part of the same American fabric. Whether we come from different backgrounds or hold different beliefs, the flag represents our shared commitment to liberty and justice for all, a commitment that unites us all. Consider the countless stories of individuals who have looked to the flag for inspiration. Think of the immigrant families who arrived on our shores, seeking a better life and finding solace in the sight of the stars and stripes. For them, the flag represented the promise of opportunity and the possibility of achieving the American dream. Their contributions have enriched our nation, and their stories are woven into the fabric of our history. Reflect on the brave men and women of the armed forces who have carried the flag into battle, defending the freedoms we hold dear. Their courage and sacrifice are embodied in the flag, reminding us of the high price of liberty. We owe them a debt of gratitude that can never be fully repaid. But we can honor their legacy by striving to uphold the values that they fought to protect. The flag also plays a crucial role in our civic life. It's present at naturalization ceremonies where new citizens take their oath of allegiance, pledging to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. It flies over polling places where Americans express their right to vote, participating in the democratic process that is the very cornerstone of our republic. Our courageous first responders on September 11th, 2001, restored America's guiding stars that emerged from the ashes of tragedy across an ocean of azure, surrounded by the red and white stripes, symbolizing our nation's unwavering resolve. The flag's significance extends well beyond our borders. Around the world, it is seen as a symbol of hope and freedom. It represents America's commitment to standing up for human rights and democracy, supporting those who seek to build a better future for themselves and their communities. When disaster strikes in far-off places, the American flag often accompanies aid and assistance, embodying our nation's spirit and generosity and compassion. So in closing, let's honor the American flag, not only through ceremonies and gestures, but through our actions. Let us embody the resilience and hope that it represents. Doing so ensures that the flag's legacy endures, inspiring each of us to build a brighter future for all. So thank you very much for joining me in this reflection. May we honor our flag and its principles, working together toward a brighter and more unified future. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless and protect the United States of America. Thank you.
Wow, I love it. Okay, you couldn't have ended that any better, right, than hearing from America's General Michael Flynn. That's going to wrap it up here for our Flag Day celebration. Also, kind of celebrating President Trump's 78th birthday, 78 years young, by the way. Guys, my name is Michelle. I want to make sure that I invite you to tune in Monday through Friday for Up News, where we deliver the news unfiltered, Monday through Friday on Patriot TV. We are at 2:30 Eastern. I also want to invite you to our Homefront show, also on Patriot TV, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. We're also on thehomefront.tv. I keep telling you, we're going to have to get involved to make an impact here in our republic, but sometimes that can feel overwhelming. What's the first step? I was right there where you are right now asking that question. I always thought if I just voted, that's really what we're supposed to do, right? Well, we're going to need to each contribute a little bit more as we move forward to restore our republic to what we want it to be. And that's going to require maybe a little bit of training on how to get involved in your local community. Why is your local sheriff so important? He is a constitutional officer, and as you saw, when a lot of places were closing during COVID, it really came down to if the local sheriff would enforce some of these illegal mandates. Obviously, we were fortunate where I'm at that our sheriff knew his constitutional duty and did not waver under the Biden regime. But this is why we need you guys to get equipped with some basic training. If you go to the homefront.tv, subscribe to our page, we will get you some training to understand how you can take those first baby steps to getting involved. General Flynn, you just heard him there. Local action makes a national impact. We embody that here. Guys, before we sign out, on the home front, we always like to pray. And I want to include you in prayer today over our nation. Join with me, please. Father God, I just come before our viewing audience today and all those that have spoken today about what our flag represents. Father God, I ask that you would heal our great country, that we would seek your forgiveness from our wicked ways, the ways that we've faltered as a country, as a nation, as individuals. We're seeking your forgiveness, Father. We're turning from our wicked ways, and we're asking, Lord, that you heal our great land. Please be with those families who have lost loved ones, not only through natural causes, things like COVID, but also those that have lost somebody who has fought for this wonderful country, those that did not come home. Father, be with their families today. I ask that you guard our first responders as well as our men and women serving in the military. I ask that you bless this great country. It's in Jesus' name I pray, Lord. Amen. That's going to be it for me here today, guys. Until next time, I want you to stay loud, stay informed, and stay blessed. My name's Michelle Posey, signing off. See you next time. Hi, Homefront family. Thank you so much for joining us today. You know what? You have a special opportunity to see a little bit more behind the scenes. If you subscribe, only premium members, tell them what they're going to see, guys.
I don't know if you're ready for this. I know that we always say this on the show, like, what if they could see behind the scenes of every episode or every time we break? Like, I don't know if you guys are ready for this. We're quite wild on the show, but behind the scenes, it's even better.
Like, for example, today we're on the road, we're in West Palm, and I would have loved for you to see when we were packing the RV.
Dude, yes. Oh my gosh, this little Latino woman hops in the back of this little van,
Climb
or
right
whatever
in.
it is, this little SUV, and just starts loading it. And she's like, I ain't waiting on the men, and I was like, absolutely, because if you ask me to do it, it'll take 3 to 5 business days. So the Latino woman just
So we did it. Yes. And then our actual car showed up, and we had to unpack
After we
the
already
SUV.
packed. Oh my
Then
God.
repack it, and this one is in the back in the trunk, just pulling all the stuff in. It was great. It was. I really wish we would have recorded that.
Well, and it's the stuff too when we're in the studio, the stuff that ends up on the cutting room floor.
Oh
I mean,
my gosh, like during the commercial breaks where we're always talking about like, oh my gosh, if you could only see what happens during the commercial break. Well, now you can. You're welcome.
There you go.
And when we come back, we're always laughing. I'm sure you guys
you'll know why.
trying to figure out what happened.
Do you want in on the inside joke?
Yes, you do. I don't know. I'm a little nervous.
You are going to have to subscribe. Our premium members only get the behind the scenes. It's kind of like when you're at somebody's house and you knock on the door and they don't quite invite you in. That premium membership is coming into
Wide open.
Kick your shoes off for a while. I love it. You're gonna. Oh, they can even get behind the scenes when we're traveling. When we're putting our makeup on, when we're doing our
like
hair,
getting ready before the episode.
You guys have. You're in store for some great content. Okay, in store for some great content. Just saying.